AITA for refusing to do a DNA test? My dad found out my mom was cheating and she won't say with who or when, but we know it's likely around the time she was on a stay-at-home mother. Thing is, she had all of us, 2 brothers, 1 sister, around the same time, so any one of us could not be my father's. He's divorcing my mother and wants us to take a DNA test to prove we're his children, otherwise he isn't paying for college for us. He promised to do so before this and all of us have been counting on it. My sister, oldest, did the test because she was confident she was related to our dad. She was likely pre-cheating and she looks the most like him, so I was pretty she was. She's also in college and is relying on our dad, and he's going to keep paying because of the results of the paternity test came back positive. I have a feeling I'm not my dad's biological kid since I don't look anything like him, and people even have commented I don't look like the rest of my family. I'm terrified because I think he's upset enough that he won't talk to me anymore and definitely won't be paying for my college. I don't want to take the paternity test because I don't want to know, but if I don't I probably won't get college paid for. The money isn't in a college fund but set aside as investments my dad has and isn't going to my mom in the divorce proceedings probably. I don't know how things will go and I'm starting college in September. I stupidly picked a pretty expensive school because I thought my dad would pay for it and he said it was okay, but now even if my mom was willing to I don't think she can afford it. I'm so mad at her and my dad for putting me in this position. I've told him I'm not doing the test and he said that's okay, but he will assume I'm not his and not have anything else to do with me once since I'm 18 already. I'm living with my mom but not talking to her because of this edit. After reading some of the comments I've decided to do the test. I didn't want to out of fear, but now it's clear it doesn't really matter and it's better I know for sure. So you're 18 and just found out your dad may not be your dad, and he's punishing you for something beyond your control. Your mother is clearly an asshole. Your dad is being an asshole to treat you as a stranger if you're not getting a DNA test. Thanks for the awards. We've got a lot of kind strangers. About this is a no-win for OP. Even if it turns out he is DNA related, he'll always know his dad was willing to throw him away over a piece of paper he already threw him out. I've told him I'm not doing the test and he said that's okay, but he will assume I'm not his and not have anything else to do with me once since I'm 18 already. I'm sorry OP, of course NTA right? At this point it's pretty obvious OP did nothing wrong. If only this sub allowed them to ask who is the bigger asshole, mom or dad. Instead, internet hug, OP is NTA. Sorry for the situation though. Dad's already said unless the kids prove they're from his seed he's done with them. He's miles away worse than the mom in my eyes. Imagine raising a child for 18 years and then being so offended by their existence. That's a good one. I'm willing to vote mom if the dad realizes he lashed out at the wrong person and tries to reconcile quickly. If he actually maintains this stance for an extended period of time, what he's doing is significantly worse. Can't just abandon your kid like that. Same professional level of asshole, but they are playing different sports. It's not a contest. My child's father cheated on me after a forced marriage in a way that made my entire family ashamed. I was only allowed to leave him because he was violent and I wanted to go to school. What kind of person would I be if I had ever taken that out on our child? Not a good one. I'm so sad for OP. It doesn't excuse the mom's actions at all, but he spent 18 years raising OP. How can he be so quick to just cut him off like that? If he just found out his wife was cheating and lying to him and may even have knowing passed off someone else's kids as his, he may not be thinking very rationally right now. If he doesn't cool off after the divorce is final and he's had time to process, then he's an but right now, he's probably enraged and hurt in the bargain. OP is NTA no matter which way they choose to go on the DNA test. Per their edit they're doing it, but it's fine either way. Now the mom is 100% grade A USDA certified Dad is still an asshole RN. Mom is an asshole too, but dad is doing it spitefully toward his son. Yeah, I hope the dad comes around. I totally understand his hurt and pain right now, but for 18 years OP has been his kid. I hope he processes his feelings and at least tries to repair things. Mom is an asshole for sure for the affair, but the father is treating his child horrifically. Poor kid must be terrified and has been effectively disowned, and possibly actually disowned, because of something completely out of their control and not their fault. I feel so bad for this kid right now. This was my thought. OP has been raised by dad for 18 years. OP is completely innocent in this situation and it is unfair of dad to lord the cost of school over OP's head. He raised OP. How can he just cut himself off from OP? There must be some sort of bond, love, affection there. The way dad is acting is immature and lashing out in response to mom, not to OP. OPNTA. This was my thought as well. This man raised OP and suddenly wants to throw out the baby with the bathwater kind of attitude almost immediately. Be mad at the wife but not your kids. That's so sad and I feel for OP. NTA. This man clearly never really loved his kids. He only cared about whether or not they shared his DNA. I can understand him being deeply hurt, but did the past 18 years mean nothing to him? Like wow, eyes wide open moment there, exactly this. The mom cheating sucks, but if the dad is such an egotistical prick that he is one, willing to punish his children for their mother's mistakes and two, willing to essentially disown kids that he supposedly loved and raised for 18 years just because they don't share a genetic link, I gotta wonder what this guy was like in other aspects of his marriage. And no matter how hurt or angry the father is feeling, he has zero excuse to take that out on his kids. He's being a terrible father regardless of what the DNA results are. I could understand going no contact if the kid is a baby with no memories of you and you find out you're not the bio father. But at this point he should have an established relationship with his children that transcends whose sperm was in play at the time. OP is definitely NTA and the mom sucks, but in my opinion the dad is the biggest asshole here for showing his children that their entire history together means nothing to him. I think the dude is just angry and is taking it out on everyone for the deception he faced. I feel parents suck here. OP is NTA. He had no choice in the matter. I think that's the eyes wide open part. Asterisk raising a kid for 18 years thinking they are your living blood and tissue. Asterisk I'd honestly lose my mind if that happened to me. Like 18 years of my life was an absolute lie raising someone else's kid because the one you're supposed to love is out fucking other people. I get why the dad behaved this way, but it is so soul-crushing to think it actually happens. I'm so sorry OP. Your parents are TA and there's nothing you could have done to satisfy both sides. It's a no-win and so disheartening. Hugs. Maybe OP should ask if dad would adopt him if the test doesn't show paternity because that is his real dad by love and 18 years of raising him. This will only work if dad can process his betrayal emotions better than he is. OP is innocent and is hurt even more that dad by this revelation. Where this takes place, but most of the time the father signs something indicating that they are the parent. So, in the eyes of the law, he's the father's kid. It never been in a situation like this, per se. His mom could have banged 500 sailors on shore leave. They didn't change his diaper, they didn't teach him to ride a bike, they didn't hold him when he cried cause he fell off. Is that your son or not? Because DNA matters not one whit. It is the very last thing that makes you a father and a dad. I found out at 60 that my life was an absolute lie, that I wasn't my beloved late dad's biological child, that my brother was actually my half-brother. I can't begin to describe my anger at the universe and the feeling it played a big cosmic joke on me. That's why OP needs to take the test for their sake alone so they don't have it hanging over them. I never understand people who think the cheating parent is the bigger in this situation. I'm sorry, child abandonment is more cruel and harmful than cheating. I'll never understand this point of view. So somehow the man who raised him isn't a bigger asshole than the person who purposefully cheated, got pregnant, and lied to multiple people for years? In a perfect world would it be ideal that the man who raised OP would understand that it's not their, OP's, fault that their mom is a lying, whoring monster, but right now the father's entire fucking life is in flames and doubt. And I'm not saying that the man that raised OP is in the right here. There was a better way to handle this situation. But there always is. Just as a side note, if you still think that the mother is not as much of an asshole, this entire situation would not have existed if she had not cheated. Imagine watching this baby grow up, helping him, teaching him for 18 years. Then you discover he's not yours biologically and you are able to just stop caring. I can't imagine it. There is something wrong with an adult who happily parents a child to 18 but doesn't form a bond to the child for the child's own sake. Bring the downvotes, Bo eyes. Edit 2. I look silly for saying that now. BC I'm no longer negative lol. If OP's dad throws OP away over this, he never loved OP in the first place. You want empathy? I only have the point of view I do because I put myself in dad's shoes. How would I feel? Sad and betrayed. Divorce incoming of course, but would I stop loving my child? Sever contact at 18? I literally can't imagine being able to do that to any child I raised. I don't know what the age cutoff is, but at 18, the ship has sailed. This child loves you and you are the only dad he has. I agree with the other commenter. In the grand scheme of things it doesn't really matter, but at the end of the day the father is punishing a kid who had nothing to do with any of this. Of course there's going to be some hard feelings, and the father will most likely have to reevaluate some things, but he's not even being all that considerate. He flat out is abandoning the kid he raised cold turkey. Not to mention, what if the DNA test comes back positive? Then he's punishing his son for a non-existent problem. It's just taking anger out where it doesn't belong. A father's love for their children is supposed to be unconditional. Ensuring that they need to share the same genetic code as you is pretty fucking conditional. Understand being angry and grieving, but turning your back on your child, leaving them without the only dad they've ever known, is one of the biggest asshole moves you can do. Yep. I'm glad he's decided to get the DNA test. IT will at least get his college paid for if he is his father's biological son, then he can do whatever he wants, like cut this man off for being an awful person. Dad is clearly losing his mind and is being an asshole for punishing the child who, as everyone correctly pointed out, has absolutely no power nor responsibility for this, but I'm a bit shocked at the zero sympathy for the father. His life was literally destroyed in the blink of an eye and not a single person is sympathetic nor willing to help him, not even his own family. It's incredibly common to want a DNA test after infidelity. It's also incredibly common to not think straight and lash out after something so devastating as this. It's wrong that he's targeting his children, but it's also the only option he has left to gain any semblance of control after a literal life-changing betrayal by his spouse, the person who he's supposed to trust the most. Honestly, I feel for the father. I think he's handling it poorly, but I dare anyone to say that they would handle this situation with perfect aplomb. OP is 100% NTA though. NTA from OP replies he is also being used by his mother as she and her lawyer do not want OP to do the DNA test so that she, OP mother, can get a better deal in the divorce. The cheating cannot be positively proven. Naturally, OP father is angry with OP, possibly because he is weakening his divorce case by refusing to take the DNA test and proving his mother cheated. It's horrible that OP is being dragged into his parents' divorce like this, but also they're fucked if they don't do the test and likely fucked if they do. However, if dad wants proof of cheating to reduce his divorce payout and OP is that literal proof, surely that's the leverage OP needs to get their college paid for. The father is already an awful person. Get a contract that covers your college either way. OP. This is the way. Take the test, but demand that the results are private unless you decide to reveal them. Take control of the situation from these asses who are using you like a football in their divorce. Then you can decide what's best to do with the results. IT sounds like OP is being used. But I don't understand that if parents have been married for at least 2 decades, how can dad keep all those investments earmarked for college to himself? Unless there was a prenup, those should be considered marital assets and split evenly. Mom should fight for her half and try to force a clause into the divorce decree that dad has to pay equally for all kids' colleges. I don't see a judge allowing dad to get away with this DNA test BS after 18 years of being a father to OP. They're not earmarked for college, they're tied up to dad's personal investment account versus an educational one with OP as the recipient. That being said, mom's lawyer should definitely push to have college paid for all the children, since the court would consider dad as the legal father regardless of biology if the parents were married at the time of their birth and he had a parental relationship with the children in question. Cheating sucks, but family law judges see adultery every day and it's not allowed to sway their decisions. They're concerned with dividing marital assets in an equitable way based on what came into the marriage. Picking and choosing some kids over others wouldn't fly. NTA, your parents suck. I'd have the DNA test done personally just to find out. And if you aren't your dad's, try to figure out who your bio dad is. IT will help later down the line if your doctors ever have any hereditary health questions. You don't have to now for sure, but I eventually would once I came to terms with it. I am so sorry you are going through this. That is so shitty to deal with as a 17 or 18-year-old kid. Go to the college you think will be best for your future. I funded my own college. My parents didn't pay a dime. You can do it. It's harder, but you are capable. Was going to say exactly this. Take the test for yourself OP. It's info you may really need in the future. It is so unfair of your dad to do this. He still raised you. FFS. He just sounds like he wants to hurt your mom. If op parents are getting divorced, talk to mom's divorce lawyer. If he's on the birth certificate and has raised them since birth, he can be required to pay child support. I don't think it even matters cause OP is 18. Also, dad didn't say he'd not pay for collage if OP is not his. He just wants the DNA test done, probably to walk away better in the split after the divorce is finalized. Nothing to lose her TBH. OP is SOL if dad decided to not pay for collage, but if the test does come out that the father is not OP's father, then OP has more information of how the dad will treat them and whether they would want to walk away from dad as well. Shitty hand, but might as well play it to see the results than fold and be left wondering many things. I agree. At this point dad has already decided he won't pay for college unless you get it, so you have nothing to lose as it relates to college tuition. I personally think it's awful that he would let go of his kid after 17 years because of DNA. You would think that he loves you at this point regardless. Hopefully even if a test shows he isn't your bio dad, he will realize that he loves you no matter what. This is a bad take. Why would OP want to pay to get their DNA sent into a system that can be used in many unintended ways? I'm just not a fan of companies like 23andMe and the like because the terms of service allows too much leeway to the company and not enough to protect you in case you want to in the future. Point 1 Can't be sure what will happen to these databases in the future or even how much can be eventually determined from one DNA sample. If they want an answer, just take the test that would be paid by the father, and if it turns out he is not the father, ask mother for more info and go from there. Oh hun, course your NTA, but what are you gaining by not taking AITA? Is there anyone you can talk to? Your dad is being awful. I can't imagine being willing to walk away from my child. And you are his child, whatever a blood test says. My mom is trying to get me to not take it, I think, because she knows I'm a result of her cheating. I think you should take it honestly. So long as there's a question mark, there will always be strain on things because of what your mom has done. Your best bet to salvage the relationship with your dad is to talk to him personally. Tell him that you're scared of what the outcome could be and then take it with him. Even if you end up not being his, he if ever loved you at all, you may be able to move past it if he can recognize that it isn't your fault. Only hers dad is bad person. He will abandon up on a whim. I guess he is hurt but is punishing his son for something which is not his fault. 18 years of raising. Just like that he will throw away. Wonder what his siblings think about it. Your best bet to salvage the relationship with your dad. There's nothing to salvage. Dad is throwing away the relationship to a child he has brought up as his own, whether or not that is true. Dad is the gigantuous here. Is there maybe a way OP could do a DNA test with the sister to see whether they are siblings or half-siblings, assuming sis won't tell dad anyway? That way, if it shows siblings, taking the DNA test with dad is safe. If half-siblings, well, daddy dearest is out anyway, so no reason to take the test for his benefit. Take the test. You have nothing to gain by not taking it at this point. Your dad is already treating you as if you are not his bio kid, so a negative result will just confirm what he is already doing. But then you can try to remove him as a parent legally and qualify for financial aid based on the income of your actual family. If you do turn out to be his bio kid, take the money from your dad and then when you're done go LC or NC since he has shown his true colors. Your mom is incredibly selfish to tell you not to take the test at this point. All she is trying to do is protect herself in the divorce or her reputation. Take the test so you know and so you can remove yourself from this situation once and for all. Tommy dad's made it pretty clear that the biology is of utmost importance to him since he's going to cut his kid off over it. There's a risk here that this results in dad telling OP their darkest fears to their face. At least it rips the band-aid off. NTA. This is what I would say to my dad in this situation. Dad, you are my dad. You've been with me through my entire life and everything that has happened to me. The fact that your pain and anger at my mother makes you willing to give me up, willing to give up our relationship, and the fact that you've been my dad for my entire life and willing to abandon me is destroying me. Everything that you're feeling with mom is so valid and worthy. But why would you do this to me? Think for a minute whether is worth destroying me because you're mad at mom. This isn't even about college. This is about the father you've known your entire life abandoning you cause he's hurt and pissed. Take the test. You have nothing to gain by not taking it at this point. Your dad is already treating you as if you are not his bio kid, so a negative result will just confirm what he is already doing. This is the game theory the dad is using. And I doubt that once his head clears he will hate the child. I think this is him wildly lashing out to gain some semblance of control because since this seems rarely stated, his life was just irreparably damaged by the person he trusted, Moth, who is still withholding information from him unfairly. Is it right that he's punishing the kids? Nope. Do people act logically or rationally after something so life-destroying as infidelity? Nope. I'm curious how recent this all is because if it is within a month or so of the dad finding out, I could see how he'd be all heated and resent the kids. Just running on pure hatred and emotion towards the mother. I'd imagine, hope, once things settled down the dad would have a bit of a change of heart. It's easy to be, oh dad's a dick, I'd do this. But this would be some heavy shit. I'd also add to this that OP would be willing to help him in the divorce and get the test because she in fact lied to them both. They should be on the same side. I'm considering it, but my mom and her lawyer told me not to do it. I think my mom told her lawyer I'm not my dad's and he wants to prevent my dad having concrete proof she was cheating. What the hell? Your dad is a huge asshole. He's just gonna cut you off after being your dad for the past 18 years? I get the hurt of finding out your wife cheated, but that doesn't mean he should take it out on you. I'm sorry you're stuck in this situation. Probably the best thing to do would be to see if you can apply to a cheaper school or defer your application for a year. If he will not be funding, then you should prepare for that. Also start applying for scholarships at it, NTA. But you parents are both assholes. You lose nothing by taking the test. Maybe you can connect with your real dad. He won't talk to me, and I doubt it's to force him to pay for college. It's because her parents, my grandparents, refuse to believe she cheated. We come from a conservative community, and if there's proof like that out there, no one's going to want anything to do with her. She just wants to save her own skin. Honestly, you have nothing to lose as a result. You're not going to get the money for college without it, and you will need a backup option either way. Honestly, your relationship with your dad seems like it's over either way, so I would just take the test. Because your options are 1, you refuse to take the test, never know for sure, don't get the money for school, and don't speak to your mother's soon-to-be ex-husband again. Or 2, you take the test and have a 50-50 shot of going to college with his money. If the test shows you're not his, you're in the same boat as if you never took it, except you know he's not your dad. And if the test shows that you are his, you could take his money and go to college. You don't have to maintain a relationship with your father because of him hurting you, but at least you have a chance of money either way. I'm sorry your parents both suck. When faced with the horrible facts of his wife's infidelity, he could have sat with the kids and said, even if you're not my blood, you're my kids because I raised you and I love you regardless. Instead he went with AO. If they ain't mine, I'm not paying another cent towards them or speaking to them ever again. Kid 1, you're mine, so we're good, but don't expect me to speak to the others till the test is done and I know they're mine. Dick move. Any empathy I have for his situation was erased by his reaction to it. The only thing we truly control in life is how we respond to the things that happen to and around us. He showed them exactly who he is in his reaction. He's no better than his cheating, lying wife. The only asshole here is your mother. Listen, I get that your dad isn't handling this in the best way possible, but just as you are dealing with this fallout, so is he. His wife of many years cheated on him, and he has no idea how long, who or when his marriage is done. The life he knew is done. His trust is broken. He has been betrayed. He now has to get tested and worry about STDs, and worst of all, his kids may not be his kids. The man is hurting. He isn't handling it well, okay, but that doesn't make him an asshole. You're hurting too, don't get me wrong, I totally understand that you are. But you can't dismiss what he's dealing with either. Your mother is refusing to even say, no, I didn't cheat on you around the time I got pregnant with the kids, which means she's probably was. I'm sorry you're in this situation, truly I am, but if the condition now is get tested so he will pay for college, that's just his condition. You are absolutely in the right to refuse, but it is also his right to refuse to pay for it. A promise is not a legal obligation. I suggest you try to apply for loans/scholarships to see if you can get the help that way. Maybe speak to your mom and ask her to be honest with you. Tell her your future is on the line and you need her to be honest and truthful. Ask her if your dad really is your dad. If that doesn't work, maybe wait a bit, and when things have calmed down a little you can have a sit down with your dad and talk all of this out. I think right now things are just too fresh. However, you should ask him if he is serious. Take the test anyway. There might be serious DNA and medical history you need to know. If he is not your father and some other guy is, you will need to find out if he has genetic markers for cancer or other diseases. Your mom is the asshole for cheating without protection. Has your brother taken one? Your father raised you. He is furious with your mother. Talk to him before taking the test and ask him if he really will punish you like this. Get the test. Do it for you, not for him. If you are the son of another, track him down and maybe he will pay for college since he had 18 years free from child support payments. YTA, your father worked and paid for you and your siblings for the last 18 years and your mom was a stom. The terms of that deal were that she'd raise his children and he'd provide a life for her and them. Now, when everything is paid for and he's been manipulated like some workhorse, he finds out that his whole life is based on a lie and people want him to continue to work out hundreds of thousands and probably work to retirement. With no certainty all the kids are his, he'll probably get destroyed in divorce court and have to pay your mother alimony as she hasn't been working. He's been manipulated to be this woman's slave and will probably be that till he dies. Take the test, give the man some dignity back and let him make his own decision based on the truth. He may not want a relationship if you aren't, but be grateful for what he's provided so far under the circumstances. He's probably very angry and misdirecting some of it at you, but every time he looks at his kid's ATM he probably sees all the sacrifices he made for 20 years, looking back on him like an idiot. Yes, you are still his kid having been raised by him, but have some compassion. Most people go to collage without it being provided for. You don't even feel sorry for the old guy.